I live my life like a rich white man.
And that's a great place to be, like, but it is not your reality at some point.
I don't know if that's
at
true.
some point, like, it's good to be delusional. I am all for delusion.
I am
and
delusional.
Like living in your delusion.
Fine, there you go. There you go.
Hi, my name's Christina. I'm 28 and I'm a biomedical engineer.
Hi, my name is Abeselom Alem. I go by the nickname of Abby. I'm 39 years old from San Diego, California. I am a marketing and advertising and communications executive.
My name is Obirin Odara and I am 30 years old and I am, social worker, philosopher, teacher.
Hi, my name is JC Best. I'm 34 years old and I'm a comedian podcaster in LA.
When I hear free speech, it feels like it's a fake promise.
It's really just to be able to be comfortable in who you are, to feel like you are your most liberated self.
To me, it's really simple. I can say what I want.
I believe that free speech shouldn't necessarily be absolute nor limited. I feel like that's just kind of oversimplifying things a little bit too much. I think the first things first is like, what is it rooted in? And if it's rooted in some type of hate or invoking some type of violence or hurting other people or oppressing other folks, I think that's when some type of intervention should come in around what people should be able to say.
We think anything is absolute in this life. So that applies to that concept as well.
Nothing is absolute because we are trying to experience these concepts, these ideas with our real life. Then all this depends how much power, how much resource we can have to make this idea happen in real life.
I think free speech should be absolute. I don't get the point of fighting and laboring for free speech if you cannot say what you want. If I hate somebody, for example, if I dislike somebody because of their race or their gender or their sexual identity, that's my opinion. Why can't I not like you because of that? Now, I'm an asshole, true, but I should still be able to express that, no?
I think people do, at least in this country, there is a good degree of freedom to speak. However, I don't think that it is equivalent or free and equal for all people.
We really have the ability to say anything and everything we want. I think the challenge is the consequence and repercussions that come from that. And I feel depending on where you're from, who you are, what your economic background is, so on and so forth, you may or may not necessarily feel safer on.
Of course, less, because how much more the conservative side party tries to keep our power alive. They use more resource technologies to make the people they hate or they just disagree feel aprisionated, penalized. So yes, in this moment, right now, in this government, we have less right to express ourselves.
It's, man, today, 2025, can you compare that to 1850? Can you compare it to 1950? Is it perfect? No, it's not perfect, but yeah, freedom of speech is, to me, a lot more expansive than it was back in the day. It doesn't mean it's perfect, but I feel a lot more comfortable living in 2025 than 1925, 1960, 1970. I don't know, man.
What do you
I think
think?
it's pretty free. So I'm a comic, I'm a comedian, and comedians are pretty crummy people. We have an important job, but just as a whole, the comedians are they're pretty shit people, man. You know what I mean? We're very insecure. But we do have an important job, and that's always to test the free speech button. Mm-hmm. And as far as I can see, free speech is it's alive and well. I think we're doing a good job. Now, if you lose a job because you said something, that doesn't mean that there's not free speech. It just means that you probably said something stupid that caused you to lose a contract, and that's fine too. It doesn't mean you're not going to have consequences for talking, but if we start throwing people in jail for talking their opinion, that's a problem, you know. So.
Do you not see that happening in other facets of life? Just like with the current news, like the current, I guess, conflicts.
Was there a kid in Boston or something? Like that university, there was like and he was not a citizen. Did I understand that?
Yeah. That piece of news has been circulating a lot lately. That's one example of it. Even though free speech is protected under the First Amendment and it's technically not just supposed to be for citizens, it did target him as well, even though it's supposed to be applicable to everyone in this country. However, he did get like these difficulties and these barriers thrown at him for practicing his free speech. So yeah, it may be alive and well in certain facets, like for example, your industry, but do we see it still being alive and well in other aspects of life?
Yeah, I wouldn't trust this government. I wouldn't trust any government. If I'm in a country and I don't believe or agree with something, I'm not going crazy. I don't trust these people to have my back if I say something they don't like. You got to be smart. So he's not a citizen. They said you're out of here. I mean, come on, man. You got to be intelligent. You got to be intelligent. I'm not saying that what they did is right. Obviously, it's probably not right, but you ain't got like the foresight to see is Trump in office. Like you bugging. You are really wilding right now. You're really bugging.
I think there's like a duty though, like you had said, there's like I don't want to say like entitlement per se, but like an assumption that they have a level of awareness or intelligence around, hey, I'm gonna say this for whatever I gotta say, And I think for my perspective, you should be able to say what you want to say as long as you're not hurting somebody or harming somebody.
I agree.
You can say what you need or whatnot, but in the same instance, in the same time too, some people just don't even have the awareness or the consciousness to be able to understand and discern like exactly what is it that I can say in this particular space. And I think what you're seeing, especially in this country now that's set, like the United States has set the precedence in terms of what,
Freedom.
how you can verbalize yourself and how you can express yourself, not just verbal, but even artistically as well too, right? And I think like when you are in a country that has, rested its laurels and its brand really around that and stuff like that, whether you're an immigrant, whether you're here on a green card, whether you're a naturalized citizen, whether you were born here, whatever it may be and stuff like that, at the end of the day, that's the brand of this country. Like you could say whatever you want to say, like, and get it off and whatnot, as long as again you're not harming somebody or you're not like stoking flames around violence and stuff like that, right? And I think the challenge that we're seeing now, and even just before this administration as well too, like this has been around for, quite frankly, my perspective on freedom of speech is a lot different, especially from where my parents came from. They come from a country by the name of Eritrea, where right now, like if you go there, you can't say shit.
Wait, who?
Eritrea. It's
Africa, right?
East Africa, right?
Beautiful.
It's you can't say shit, man. Like you can't say anything there.
Right.
Like you say anything that crosses the line or rubs a government official or even an oligarch or somebody of power or money there, stuff like that, you get thrown in jail. So like I think the thing is like just really understanding like being in this space here where it's communicated to us that it's safe and it feels good and stuff like that, and then all of a sudden you get punished for that.
It's weird.
It's weird. It's super weird. It's confusing.
It must have been weird for black people when they were like, all those laws in the 17 and 1800s, and they weren't able to take advantage of them. I love this country because of the stuff that is written down. But I would be a fool to think that all that shit is like, protected for real for everybody.
Yeah.
So you got to be smart. I do love the ideals of this country, man. I love the Declaration of Independence. I love, everybody's free, blah, blah, blah. But that's what it is. It's a blah, blah, blah. And if you're not smart, yeah, they'll do whatever they want.
Yeah, but that's kind of my divergent point with you. What you're saying is like the smart piece. Like that's a very subjective point of view, you know what I'm saying? Like somebody can come to me, but you're brilliant, you're smart or whatever it may be, and then I'd be around somebody else and like, oh man, like I'm around some rocket scientists and they're like, oh yeah, you don't really know a lot about this kind of stuff, you know what I mean? Like
right.
The way that we're interpreting what intelligence is around that kind of stuff is, again, that's the part that it's like, well, you should know better. Well, what do you mean? Well, I should know better. Like who's teaching me? I'm sorry, Christina.
No,
like who's teaching me? Who's leading me in that sense? And I think that's where you're seeing just a complete disassembly what like leadership looks like and stuff like that. And it's really not leadership. It's like, how can I serve myself in that sense, you know? And I think that's the piece, like as a duty as of a leader for other people and stuff like that, right? And understanding like when you're leading, you're trying to set a precedence for what a society should look like. I think that's the piece where we're like, what does that look like to be smart?
When I think about freedom of speech, for me, this is like a conception, you know? It's an idea, a law. So we can have different perspectives about this because this is like here. And we need to experience the freedom of speech to say different things about this. So I talk as Brazilian, black girl. Then when you were talking a lot here, and I appreciate all this, my freedom of speech depending of my body to be safe and comfortable, and if I have the right language, if I can speak in English, if I have the right accent, if I can listen. So my right to express myself depends how much I am inside of this country. So when I think about freedom of speech, I am thinking about our identities, how we are living different ways to be connected with the idea about citizen or our right to exist, you know. If we don't have freedom of speech, we don't have freedom to exist. And when we talk about colonialism, racism, and all these powers against our body, we are talking how all these dispositives makes us first don't believe about what we are feeling. For example, I can be here feeling nervous and feeling like I'm not able to talk with all these people because my English is not very well, because I am not from here. I have so many questions. So first, I need to be comfortable inside of me. And I think this country doesn't make or doesn't want to make us feel comfortable. This country is serving a whiteness people. So we have movements, we have our groups, our community fighting against all this shit. I am using my freedom of speech now, saying shit. So we are fighting against this, then we can live more inclusion and diversity. But it's so crazy when you think the power is in the hands of white men who says, it's enough, okay? Go to your home, go to your country, go to your bed, don't talk to me, be silent, because I can jail you, I can prison you, I can make you die, you know? So when I think about freedom of speech, I am thinking how this power, this whiteness power, and not just here in the US, but in my country, Brazil, we have so many boundaries to know more about African and indigenous philosophies. And I believe just when we invite these people, these identities, the Mexican, everybody to stay here together, we can eat another foods, another informations. So how deeply my discourse or what I imagine, what I think about my freedom to express myself depends what I am consuming. And in North America, we are consuming just shit in general for me. With all respect, because I am from Brazil.
I guess, is it safe to say that you feel like you have your full freedom of speech in environments where you are comfortable, where you feel that community, but outside of that, it's hard for you to be comfortable and actually feel like you have the full extent of your freedom of speech?
Yes.
Is that a way, like, am I understanding that correctly?
Yes,
Okay.
and I have the privilege to work with my words. So if someone call me to speak, to give a class, I go with my with what I believe. If they don't want to listen to me, they don't need to call me. Then I live this moment in my life, but I just live it in a moment where I needed to go in various spaces like academy, university, when I was trying all the time prove I am correct or my vision is has fundament, you know. But now in my life, if you don't want to listen to me, you can go, or I can go because I know my truth. Now I know my truth. And I think the black people around the world live in the diaspora sometimes don't know our own truth, you know, because the colonialism, of course.
Should all speech be protected? Yes. Yeah. Why can't I hate you? I hate you. Okay? So what's the problem?
What power do you carry?
Nothing. I'm a regular guy in the street, you know, and I voice my hate for you.
What about the worldwide hate that's being projected by our leaders, and like at least in this country currently?
Let's be clear. Hate is bad. People shouldn't hate.
Hate.
But if I say some hateful shit, I do believe that should be protected under freedom of speech. Now, if I threaten you, we can't allow that. You know, like we're talking about that. That's different. If I'm making a threat towards you, that's violence now. That's got to be. We got to do something about that. But if I don't like you, it's my opinion. I don't like you. I don't like you because you're this race. I don't like you because you're this gender. Because you're this sexual. It's my opinion. Oh, so now what? Now I lose my whole job and I got to go to jail because I don't like this group of people? I don't think that's right.
I agree with you. I think it's a little bit more layered than that, though, because I think hate combined with influence can actually turn into that violence.
So don't vote people in who are like that. Oh, wait. So, I mean, it kind of...
It's smaller than that, too. Like, for example, like we are in the world, like we are in the era of social media, of the influencer generation. So it is more than that. Yes, you have obviously like the big public figures, your president, like people in power, etc. But then you also have people with money who also have influence with their money. And then you have people with followers, like social currency, that is also influence. So again, hate plus influence of whatever, like just like the three that I've stated, right? Political, monetary, social influence, right? That can still be influential enough to then lead to violence, to lead to a culture change, which then again leads to violence. So
I just want to
at
make
what
sure we're clear. So if I have a company, let's call it Sony Music, okay, or whatever my company is, and one of my employees or someone I'm doing business with says some hateful shit, I don't want to work with you anymore. Cut the contract, take away their job. I'm fine with that.
Does that not happen?
No, I'm fine with that. I'm not. But I think the question was, like, by the American government. I'm assuming we're talking about American government. Should the should people who hate with their speech be protected? I don't know what it looks like to not be protected. What are we going to start throwing people in jail because they voice their hate for people? I don't know if that. I don't care if you lose your job from a private company who says, you know what, I don't want you as a representative for my company. I'm okay with that. But the government saying, oh, we're going to throw you in jail or, because you said you hate this group of people, I don't know if I want to live in a country like that.
I think that's where I have my head goes again back to like the principles and philosophies around liberties, right? And if it's like if I say something and it restricts my civil liberties, and I agree with what JC's saying, like if I say something that I have an opinion and then I lose my livelihood because of that and stuff like that, I'm like, I think that's problematic, right? But if I'm a business as well too, I also see the other side of it as well too, because the business also has some freedoms and their liberties as well too. Like if somebody says some stuff that affects the performance of my business and stuff like that, where you say something on Twitter or Facebook or whatever it may be, and all of a sudden like you lose 50% of your sales over that thing or whatever, that's problematic as well too. So I think again, like the oversimplification is the problem for me personally, where we're just like, oh yeah, we should just be able to say what we want to say and stuff like that. We'll never get along in society. Ever. Yeah, absolutely. Many times in my life. I can tell one story for myself. where I was in the work environment that I was in at one point, I was witnessing illegal activity happening within the industry. I worked in I'm just gonna leave out the industry I was in, but the industry I was in is heavily regulated, and I was witnessing like illegal activity that was happening in order for people to, make money and stuff like that. And I didn't speak up because of the fear of losing my livelihood from it. Because I would become the whistleblower on that kind of sense, around that kind of thing. So it's just like, even in the sense that I'm like, I can go in and say something, but I know if I say this, because of the system and the culture and the ecosystem that's created or whatever maybe, I won't be able to put food on the table for my kid.
But this is not government freedom of speech. You didn't want to say nothing because of your job, right? But the government, if you would have said something, you would have been protected by government, laws.
Not necessarily. The government is a hire. I was working for a publicly traded company. I was working for I don't want to get into the details of what that is, but at the end of the day, the government was going to do shit for me. Yeah, I can go through the systems that we have in our court systems and follow through the laws and stuff like that, but that's, again, like, I'm just one person, and I got to be able to go through that, and I got to be able to endure that, and I still got to live my life through all that, So I think sometimes it's really those choices that you got to make because it's affecting me today. I don't know if, and for myself, I live in a present state of mind. I don't know where I'm going to be tomorrow in that sense and stuff like that. So sometimes those decisions that you make on that point of view, it's just like, hey, you know what, let me just go, I'm going to pick my battles. I'll go from there.
Doesn't the government protect whistleblowers?
No, man.
It doesn't?
No.
I mean,
It doesn't. It depends on who your judge is and who your lawyer is and the systems and stuff like that. We're also black people too, man. Like, this system is not for us. You know what I mean? So like, for me to have like faith that, the court's gonna be on my side and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of, again, these are all these different variables that go in there when you're just like, in that moment of time, you're like, am I gonna say something or not? You know what I mean? Like, those are things that people think, and I'm blessed that I have the capability and the awareness to be able to think through that and have that intelligence. Most of this world doesn't, man.
I think this goes back, sorry to interrupt you, but it goes back to what you started off this conversation saying, where you were like, you gotta have the intelligence to know like when you can speak up and when not to speak up. And just something that I actually wanted to ask from earlier on, who needs to have that intelligence? And I think you brought it up right now. It's like the people that don't necessarily benefit from that freedom of speech, from speaking up, from like saying their mind, etc. Goes back to the person in Boston, goes back to your situation, goes back to our daily lives as we go through this country, and then like also like where you're comfortable, etc. Tying it all back to, yes, there is freedom of speech in this country, and that's something that Americans pride themselves in. However, is it necessarily free for everyone? And what is the cost of that quote unquote freedom? So the cost could be your livelihood. The cost could be being deported back to somewhere. The cost could be like, okay, now I can't be here to study and then like do my stuff because I said something, and now they're like, you're no longer welcome in this country. Or it could be 10 times worse, like your life, etc., violence. So I guess this all goes back to, yes, there is freedom of speech. However, it is not free for everyone, and some costs are higher than others. At least from like what we've gone through.
Man, it's rough. I live my life like a rich white man.
And that's a great place to be, like, but it is not your reality. At some point,
I don't know if that's true.
At some point, like, it's good to be delusional. I am all for delusion.
I am delusional.
Like, living in your delusion.
Fine, there you go. I do.
When like push comes to shove, you are not a rich white man. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
live delusional. You got me, because I can't.
You do not have those consequences.
I can't live my life feeling like, oh my God,
I'm a victim.
I'm black.
I'm
gonna get in trouble if I do that. Nah, bruh. I'm gonna just be delusional. These are the laws on the books. They apply for me just like everybody else, and that's how I carry myself. So I don't have this fear that freedom of speech is not free for me because of my skin color. Nah, bruh, it's free for me too, and I test it. So I see what you're saying, but nah, I can't get with that. I can't live my life in fear. It's just, I'm not built like that.
Yes. I said about how much more we are creating new perspectives and new laws and new inclusions for us. The conservative can feel fear. And I think so the racism is not about how they really think we are inferior, like less than them, you know. But they have fear of our power, our knowledges, and so it's interesting for me when how they are feeling treatment, like yes,
Threatened?
yes,
Yeah.
okay, thank you. You are helping my freedom of speech now. And so I try to be delusional, but I can't because all the time I am trying to not to fight, but I'm trying to exist. And when I try to exist, I can feel the boundaries imposed for my body. So when I look for all this discourse and about the slogan "Make America Great Again," I know they are really worried how can come back to colonialism period, you know? How can come back to make us feel we can't speak? How can make you feel you are just a black man, you know, and you don't have nothing more than this? But I try to think with, I don't know if you know Frantz Fanon, but he said, when we want to be black, to show the white people we are good, or when we try to be white, the same movements, both movements, we are losing our subjectivity,
Yes.
you know? So we need to say, go out here, white people. We need to think about ourselves through us, through our truth. So all these movements, conservative movements, I don't think so. We need to consider they are creating new things. They are just remaking the past all the time. Remaking with new faces, new outfits, for example. They are trying to make I am confused now because I say it a lot.
It's okay.
It's okay?
Like coming back to it would be, do you think that they are being suppressed like they claim to be suppressed?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Do you think they are being suppressed?
You think Republicans are suppressed? Like conservatives, Republicans are suppressed?
Yes.
Okay.
Not surprised, but
Suppressed,
Suppressed.
like suppressed as in
Oh,
like,
yes,
and
yes.
then like they're not allowed to actually speak their truth. Like they're like, oh, all of these liberals get to say what they want, etc. But we can't say how we feel about things.
I actually think that I think we're all feeling some type of level of suppression in our voice right now. And I don't think it's because, and I think conservatives are, people on the
In the
right,
equation,
I
yeah.
think they're just better at branding it and being loud about it, like, and really like voicing their opinions through their ways and stuff like that.
Can't say anything, kind of.
Yeah, exactly. And but I think we're all, because like we were talking about this earlier, like the communication mediums have like completely changed over the last 15 years. You know what I mean? You're a comedian, right? You could put your content on YouTube. Like immediately, we can film something right now and put it on the internet, and a bunch of people can go see it. That's new to us, y'all.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like sometimes you would have to, and I think right now because we're all kind of just getting a lot of familiarity around these different like fragmented communication mediums. That's where like a lot of our frustrations are being like shared out, because I think that we are being heard, but we are being heard, but we may not necessarily be heard by the people that need to be, that we want to be heard, that we have that desire, because of these because of like how variable and like almost like in a sense kind of strange like these different communication mediums are. We don't really understand. You were talking about algorithms earlier. Like we don't understand them. Like we have an idea of what they are. We have like a concept of what they look like and stuff like that. But then if I can be like, all right, if I send out this if I give a announcement that an announcement that I've won an award or something like that, like I can put it out there, but I don't really know who it's gonna go to. I might have an idea based off of repetition and all that kind of stuff. And I think what to the question is like, yeah, I think the group in particular with conservatives, I think they're just really good at branding it right now and then just getting it through there. But I think there's a level of frustration in terms of like us being heard right now, just generally speaking in society.
I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that. Just to build off of like what you said as well. Yes, I agree that we're all feeling some sort of suppression. But at least from like what I see, because I try to like, I know I'm in my own echo chamber and like I lean like very like leftist, etc. But I try to kind of see it, and I think a lot of the suppression that I see being claimed on the right or like from more conservative people is that they're not allowed to say hate speech pretty much. And it goes back to like our previous topic where you're just like, well, is hate like speech allowed? And it goes back to like in the past, like Trump being banned from Twitter, like all of that, where you're just like, well, bro, you're inciting riots. Like, is that allowed? Like, should that be allowed? So I think it kind of just goes back to that. That's where I think like they do have a point to stand on. Like, yes, you are being suppressed, but why are you being suppressed? Like, why is it kind of like filtering you out? And like, it goes back to like, okay, like, well, what is this causing? Like, what is this inciting, etc. So yes, I do think that maybe they are being suppressed, but maybe it's for a reason. Versus like when you see like suppression, like for people that are like defending Palestine, etc., that suppression is a little bit more like out there for people like losing their livelihood, losing their citizenship status, etc. So we see it in different ways and for different reasons.
Here's everything you need to know about college students being deported by the Trump administration, which has sparked protests and led to judicial intervention as the court of public opinion is still playing out. In recent weeks, there's been a spate of foreign student deportations at American universities after President Trump vowed to crack down on anti-Israel college protesters. The student stories have emerged amid a much broader mass deportation effort. A Department of Homeland Security source told the Post that since President Trump's January 20th inauguration, ICE officials have made 113,000 arrests and carried out north of 100,000 deportations.
It reminds me a lot of like J. Edgar Hoover's like counterintelligence program and how he suppressed the Black Power movement and the work that the Black Panther Party was doing. Like it's.
Well, they try.
It's interesting the word the language that's used was like it's unprecedented. Like there's actually a lot of precedents in the U.S. government's history around this kind of things, and I think that's like again like I look back on like the first and foremost like this, it sucks. Like this is really sad that people can't stand up and voice like violence and oppression that's happening in a part of the world.
No, you can.
You can.
Yeah, you can.
Without,
But
there's a consequence.
Oh no, that you
Yeah,
can't.
that's what I'm
But no, you cannot have an action and not have a consequence in any situation.
I get you. No, that's what I'm saying. But it's sad that the fact of the matter that it's like that consequence of like, okay, well, for the universities, for example, if you don't get your students in line, I'm gonna remove the funding, so now you can't operate your educational institute.
Guys,
that's crazy, man.
America is great now, okay, but it's not nice. All right, so we're great, okay. He made great again, but we're not nice. And if you want a nice country, then you gotta vote nice people in, or go to a nice country, But we're not nice anymore. So I don't know, but I don't see any laws being broken. I just see a mean country. America, we're mean.
If that's the case, then let me remove my taxes that I'm paying into the system then and stuff like that. I want that choice.
Man, good luck with that.
You know what I'm saying? But that's the problem that I have with what you're saying is like this oversimplification. We're just like, well, it is what it is and stuff like that. And that for me is like that's like deferring our liberties.
Wait a minute.
You know what I'm saying? Like our freedom in this world. Like the reason why we are even assembled in this this social contract of government and like being in the United States of America is because a bunch of us people came together and said, hey, let's form something because we want to be together. You know what I'm saying? If not, then let us go live freely in the lands out here.
I'm gonna be honest with you.
Like I'll go build my farm and my system and irrigation, whatever that kind of stuff, whatever it may be. But that's not the case. That's not the reality.
I'm gonna keep it above.
So like for me not to be able to voice that around that or whatever, and say like that or whatever, and then have to be like, oh, my livelihood is gonna be taken away from that. That's bullshit.
Bro, let me tell you the problem with you. Let me tell you the problem with you woke people. Okay, it's too easy now. Back in the day, the 60s, 50s, whatever, you protested, man, they was coming at your head. It was a price to pay. Now, y'all be going to these protests And y'all, there's nothing really you be selfie. It's weak. It's weak sauce. So what you just said is it's upsetting that you can't say and do what you want without consequences. Sorry, if you want a really revolution, it should be consequences because that's the price of revolution. Like it should be a price to pay. You want it to be easy? That's super weak sauce.
No,
man.
I didn't think.
That's
I don't think.
super weak sauce.
Go ahead. It's not supposed to be easy. That's not what we're saying.
So then what you? But you
No,
just.
no, no. I have a question for you
Okay.
because I see what you're saying. However, why do you want us to go through everything the people that came before us already went through to help us avoid
I
getting
do
back
not.
to this point?
I do not. I think that people should smarten up. You know, let me give you an example. He said,
Define smart now.
He
'cause
said,
I don't
he
know
said,
what
J.
that
He
means
said
to
J.
you.
Edgar Hoover. J. Edgar Hoover. They first started to suppress the Black Panther, and then you know what he did? They infiltrated the Black Panther Party. Then they infiltrated Malcolm X. What was Malcolm X's? You know, like this is what the government is very smart. If they can't get you by sheer force, they will infiltrate. So guess what? We got to be smart too. It's not that I want. I'm saying this is just the game, man. The game is you have to be
But
smart.
we don't have the same power to fight against.
I would never claim that. I would never claim a reality that says that I don't have power. Figure it out. Be smart. Do what y'all.
I am smart.
Yeah, y'all smart. Whatever. Strategize. But what you're saying is we can't protest and without them. Nah, man. Come on, man.
That's moving the goalposts, though, man. It's like, all right, bet you guys can't. Like, you guys can protest. Here's the rules to the country. You guys can do whatever you want or whatever. Oh, you know what? You guys can't protest anymore. I'm taking this bread off the table. What? You're moving the goalposts. You're changing the rules of the game. That's not fair.
No, it's not fair.
No, it's not fair, and that's what that's my point. Is like if that's the case, then okay, let's reestablish the rules of society. Let's rehash the rules because
Trump said he's making America great, not fair. Okay, he didn't say let's make America fair again. He said let's make America great.
But we're
again.
also talking about people. But let's go back to the subject. We're talking about people that are speaking out about people dying on the other side of the world, man. Dying.
You're not a citizen. I don't like what you said. Get out.
So you don't like it because I'm saying, hey, like kids are dying on the other side of the world and stuff like that. Like that's what you're like.
Yeah,
sad about?
that's
what you're taking. That's what you're taking.
That's the administration that was voted in.
So that's
I didn't vote him in.
I'm not saying
people
that.
voted
But
him.
I'm not saying that. But I'm not saying that. But even though they were voted, he was voted into a system that was already built before him. He's trying to change that system now.
Trump has not broken a law by deporting these students.
I'm not saying that.
I mean, they haven't been deported yet. They are detained under no charges, though.
Yeah.
So if you're detained under no charges, that's technically, what is that? That's slavery. like we're going back and back and back and back. We're like, yes, you appreciate the laws, and you're like, yeah, it's great again. It's not nice, etc. But they're not. It's not even like their detention isn't even based on a law. It just
It's based on his feelings and his whole hysteria that he creates. Guys, I'm not a Trump. See, I think you're misunderstanding my position.
No, I think we get it.
Yeah, you think that I'm like for Trump. I'm just saying
this is
the game now.
Yeah, this is what it is.
So if y'all are not strategizing, I don't see really what we talking about here. But he hasn't committed no law. He just said, I'm a jerk. I don't want them in the country no more. Get them out of here. Mm-hmm. And that's who y'all voted in. So I don't, I mean, it kind of is what it is. Like, if you're not a citizen of this country, the gall of you to think you can come in here and speak against the country, I just think that's just not smart. It's not intelligent. Like the gall of you, you're not even a citizen here. Get out. That's what he said. And some people actually like it. A lot of people like that. It's not like we sitting here and it's like we're in an echo chamber. A lot of people in the world are like, we're tired of y'all talking shit about America. Get the F out.
What about all the other people that, like for example, that man is a resident, the one from Colombia, the one that you brought up earlier on during our session? Still a resident, that's still a green card, that is still a way to citizenship. What about all of the other students who are citizens of this country that have been detained, again, under no charge? This is more of like, it doesn't necessarily just apply to people who aren't from here or like who are trying to like make their way into this country. It's anyone who has spoken up about this like topic and the consequences that they've had to, I guess, endure and face under like no charges that actually are like not constitutional. it's more about them. So yes, if that's how you feel about people, like, okay, you have the goal, etc. What about everyone else?
What
do
country-
you think that they also should be treated the same exact way?
What country is Mahmoud from?
That's a great question. Does
Does
anyone
anyone know? The Colombia guy?
But does it matter?
Yeah, it does.
Why?
If I came from a country that didn't have the same freedom of expression laws as America, I would be walking on eggshells here. I would be very respectful.
But is that not like going against your whole American dream of like, okay, like this place is now great again or whatever? Or like you didn't
You're
say
not
that, but-
American. You're trying to be an American.
Use Palestinian and Syrian.
Palestinian, the worst. I mean, honestly, man, like people even who fight for Palestinian, it kills me. I don't understand it.
Why?
Because the way they treat women.
That's like 90%. Like that's America too. They treat us like shit here too. Like, what are you talking about?
Really? Oh, I didn't know. I'm so sorry for you. I'm so sorry for the American women. I'm so sorry for the American women that you deal with the things that Palestinian women go through. Oh my God.
Okay, but yeah, please.
Because I'm not citizen, and I feel I can be here, I can criticize here, I can, receive money, receive dollar to speak or whatever. I am here and I can talk about my feelings while I am here, I'm living here. I think everybody has the right to speak about our own experience. So I'm not here because the American dream, I hate this idea. I am not here because the dollar, but I like to have dollar. It's good, I'm not here because the technologies. I'm just here because my country, Brazil, lives economic, which depends of the decision of this country. So it's not just my opinion or what I want to live. There in my country, I am live the effect of Trump, the effect, all this, everything happened here because not you, but you, America, North America, thinks you are the center of the world.
That's true.
So I am America too, not because I want, because I am colonized. So I am South America, and I am here trying to understand between my research how we are living, experience time. Why I am saying this? Because when we were in Brazil talking about future, talking about Amazonia, and America loves our Amazonia, you are all the time trying to make our resource to be yours. So I can come here and I can just say what I am feeling. Then, when we were there just living our lives all the time, we have these impacts. We are living all the time what America is doing in economic, politics, and cultural things. And my concerns, I am concerned to understand, I'm a philosopher, I don't know if, I think so. I am looking like philosopher because I am the idea, the conception, okay.
Concept.
Yes, but I am trying to say, in my research, I'm trying to understand how we are reviving the colonial time all the time. When a black kid is murdered because the violence from cops, what is this? Are we living 2025 when this happened? Are we living the same time of white people? Are we living this great America you are saying? I don't know. When I look for black people here, I don't know if they're great or nice or... No, I think it's bad America because we can't exist. When I don't talk, when I am in silence, I can be just an American person walking on the street, And I can feel how the people are feeling with this government. So, I started to say, I'm not here because the American dream or whatever. I'm here because our conception in Brazil about time, about future, about democracy, about economy is connected connected with all the shit is happening here in America. So I am trying to understand the pillar, the matriz, you know? And you need to understand this. I am not agreeing or disagreeing with because I have my opinion. I don't have the chance to live without this American experience and the American politics affecting myself, my home, and my future, you know? And we have so many people here, living here, making this America works because, you know, we are working here. Latin person, Asian person, whatever. We have so many different nationalities working and making America works. So what is really America without all these people? What is this culture with this person? What is America without Mexico? What is?
Not a damn thing.
I don't know what it is. So if the America needs all the resource of the world to keep alive and get up, I can come here and I can say, I don't like you, you know. With all respect, I like you. I just don't like, you know,
I understand.
this idea of nation. Yes.
No. Nothing shifted my opinion. Man, the panel was, these are some of the nicest people. Everybody on the panel, very insightful, nice, but I've heard a lot of this stuff before, you know? And the truth is, like, put your money where your mouth is. If you don't like your government, get strategic, vote differently. How about this? How about don't be so public with your strategy, right? I think that's where people get messed up. They want to be so public with their strategy. Come on, man, get together, do what you got to do to get together so you can put the right people in places and be conniving with it, like they are.
No, not necessarily I change it, but I am glad to listen more about different perspectives about this topic.
I think being in a setting where I wasn't necessarily constantly being agreed with, I did enjoy that challenge, and I enjoyed learning how other people think, and I really enjoyed like being able to ask, okay, like how did you form this opinion? Like how did we get here? How did this like difference in views of like the same exact thing, like you're seeing an orange, I'm seeing like a tangerine, like how did we get here? So I enjoyed like going through that.
When my black brother said, if you are inside of America, you can't disagree with America. It just, I felt, I have so many challenges to be here talking about this. I am a foreign person, I am a student, I'm trying to express my thoughts in English. It's not my native language. And I need, with the words, we are all the time fighting to survive and to exist. And I use my words to do this. So when I need to speak about my right to say, I don't like America, or I have these criticals to do, I can be really emotional because they are talking about who I am, you know? Who I am. So this was the challenger moment for me.
Trying to make sure that, yeah, like we've addressed like I've actually addressed like what has been asked, while also taking in all of the different opinions and like perspectives and topics that came up during the debate. I found that challenging just for like my brain and like how I like to think through things.
Any major takeaways? Man, no disrespect to the panel, but my major takeaway is that we living in a softer, we living in a more softer, baby soft generation, and that's okay, no disrespect. I like the youth. You know what I'm saying? I'm for the kids. JC's for the kids. But yeah, this is baby white soft, man. You know, this is like unacceptable. You a protester, go ahead and get protest. Lose your job. Shed some blood. But do what you gotta do, man. It's protesting, it's revolution. But the whole idea of, oh, we gonna do a revolution and nobody's gonna get hurt. Is this Sweden? Come on, man.
I think my takeaway is that we do have freedom of speech to be able to gather here and be able to talk about these topics. And I think if we continue to do so and we continue to create spaces like this for people that look like me, people of just people in general within this country, I think we can preserve whatever freedom of speech we have left.
It was my first time talking with a liberal person, black person. So it's important to me create more connection, because through the connection, through affection, we can change our ideas. So I am glad to have this opportunity to listen so closer than me, different perspectives about freedom of speech or about America, about whatever.